Hey, sixth graders, we are ready to work on your fantasy middle part of your writing now. So you've written the real part, coming all the way up to the part when you go into fantasy. And now we're ready to write that fantasy part. So what do you need to put in the fantasy part? Where you are, who you are with, and then any changes that happened as you went into fantasy, and then what your problem is once you go into fantasy. So when I say changes that happen to going into fantasy, did you change clothes by any chance? Like some of you I know are writing sports ones. As you go into your fantasy, are you now in some kind of uniform? That would be a really important thing to put. Um, it also is really important that people understand where you are in your story. So I'm going to show you a couple of my stories that we looked at last time and show you how they went into fantasy. So here is first the Candyland story. So Ethan and I went through the door and here's what we came out to. It says, Ethan and I looked all around. Wouldn't that make sense that if you came into some weird world, you would look around? All I saw rivers of melted chocolate, huge gumdrops, and ice cream capped mountain peaks. As I looked below my feet, I noticed I was on a colorful sidewalk. That's important. What's under you as you're walking around? Ethan looked around with big eyes, grabbed my hand, and said, I scared, Mama. I knelt down and hugged him, saying, and that's where I stopped writing this one. Um, so if you notice, I have who I'm with. You can kind of tell where I am right here. I didn't say yet I am in Candyland, but later on it would make sense for me or Ethan to say, I think we went into the game. So to describe that, I didn't write the full thing here. I just wanted to show you how I go in. Let's look at my other story now because it has a little bit more. So again, who I'm with, where we are, and what's going on. So here's my next story. This one is the one where we're at the beach and we're going under, went through the lifeguard door. All of a sudden, the lifeguard station looked different. It was a bubbly green and blue seaweed world. It kind of looked like Ariel's home with big clamshells and a singing crab. Ethan, where are we? I gasped in a confused, bubbly voice. We're underwater? As we looked around, it was obvious that's exactly where we were, except not just anywhere in the ocean. We were in Ariel's kingdom. Look, Mommy, the mermaids are all playing tag. Can I play too? Ethan asked. I didn't think a 4-year-old who still wears a life vest would be able to keep up, but that was when I noticed we were both mermaids too. Sure, go play, I replied. And then that's all I'm going to show you of this one right now. So you can see in both of them, I changed how we look, or I didn't change how we looked in the Candyland one, but in this one, I looked down and I noticed we're a mermaid. So it's really important that the people reading your story can tell where you are, who you're with, and then if there's any changes, let's go back and look on that slide. Any changes that happened going into fantasy that you can see that. And then next, you're going to introduce what your problem is. Maybe your problem is trying to go home, and you probably have some other problem. Something's chasing you, I don't know, whatever your problem is. There's so many options here for what you write. The next part of your writing is going to be the very longest part, which makes sense. It's the heart of your story. The fantasy is completely the heart of the story. It's going to be much longer than what you wrote before. So you're going to not finish that today, but you're going to get a lot of good work done. It's not going to be homework to finish it. You just need to be working well in class on writing your fantasy part. So make sure you look on your Real Fantasy Reel planning page you did so you know what you need to write. And I look forward to seeing your writing. Goodbye.